Geek Cross. Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm a singer.
Hi, my name is Peyton, and I'm a dancer.
And today, what are we doing today?
Today, we are reacting to a new group for the very first time, and we will be checking out PIXY in their debut and first comeback.
We don't really know anything about them at all, so we took a quick look at their profile, and they are a 6-member girl group from All Art Entertainment, but they are managed by Happy Tribe. Interesting. And they're a rookie girl group that debuted earlier this year in February with their title track Wings, which we'll be watching first. And then the second song that we'll be reacting to, their first comeback, just happened recently a few days ago, called Let Me Know. This is intriguing because when we got this request, they said that their debut song, it was like the concept or the song, something about it was getting a lot of commentary. I don't know.
Mixed reviews.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's go.
That was pleasing.
That's a very interesting logo intro.
It's art.
Yeah, I get it.
It's like a dark fairy tale.
Dark fairies, that's what it is. It's a curse.
It's very haunting.
Oh, the vine is moving.
You're finding feathers is good luck.
Oh, it is?
I get it.
Oh.
Oh.
I wonder if all these effects are in the song itself too, or was it just for the music video?
Oh, the vines have gotten it.
Oh. Oh. Those are like hands. Yeah.
Coming in. It's like, rough is not the right word.
The set, that location, I mean.
I want to know where it like actually.
Oh, the dissonance.
Oh, this part is really dark. Like that part for dance.
Sort of like horn synth.
The roar was a little odd.
Yeah.
We said this a couple of times during the reaction, but like, I get it. I get why people were a little bit split, I guess, on like how they felt about the concept. It's darker and it's more haunting and it's like pretty twisted. Like it feels like something you would see around Halloween, and it's definitely darker than what you expect to see in a new girl group debut. Generally, I think people associate it with like bright colors or like neon or something a little bit more like upbeat and innocent usually. But like, as someone who enjoys both dark concepts and also reads a lot of dark fantasy novels, like I didn't mind it. I was pretty into it. Like right at the beginning I was like, oh yeah, dark fae, like I got it. And PIXY, like PIXIE in mythology, like in English mythology at least, is a super mischievous creature, and they like to cause trouble and like frighten people. Usually in dark fantasy novels, they're like the ones that are dragging people away and like causing all of the problems. So like I totally got it too with the name, like the concept and where it came from. The dance is really dark too, which I'm gonna have to explain a little bit, but like I commented on it during the bridge. There's just a lot of these like darker, like sort of twisted images that they have. The bridge is one, and actually when I watched the dance practice, realized they are repeating something from the beginning where their arms are up and it's like they're being drawn up and like hung from something and then they're released. Like that's just a dark image. They have a lot of like the wings spread open imagery, which is supposed to be like a freeing moment. But then in the music video, like there are several times where they're in that position, but they're on fire. So it's sort of like this contrast. Like it's not just those like specific moments either. Like you get that sort of feeling throughout the dance because of the way they're holding themselves. Like it's a little bit more twisted. Instead of doing something where they're straight on and like their body stays in a line, they'll be sort of like tilted forward, like head down a little bit, like snaking through towards you, so it feels like they're coming for you. And it's that sort of like haunting feeling throughout the whole thing. But then just a little bit about the chorus specifically. Like I said in the reaction, I was like, dark is not the word I'm looking for, but like I couldn't really put my finger on it. And honestly, I still can't really put my finger on it, but it has that sort of like horror film vibe to it. Like the way that you feel when watching a horror film is sort of like the vibe that it's giving off, which makes sense because it's like sort of dark and there's literally the scream in the middle of it, and like that's a really cool moment because I thought that it had just been for the music video, but that whole like arch back like head roll thing is actually in the dance, which is a really cool moment that like sticks out. They're like doing these things with their hands that look like the vines that are coming around them in the music video, and it's just very, I keep saying haunting, and I'm not trying to repeat myself a lot, but like that's just what I keep coming back to, is like it's dark and it's haunting, but because of that, like it's sticking in my mind a lot. Like it's very memorable. This is a very awkward bit in my comments, but Anna's
Okay, so for my comments, I agree with Peyton. I get why, like, when people first saw this, you would be a little bit taken aback. I mean, I clearly was just like, huh? Huh? The whole time while watching it. Like she said, it's very haunting. And I'm probably going to be using that word a lot too, because it really is just like the best way to describe it. Obviously, the dark parts of it are very haunting, but also the more like delicate parts of it, like the pre-chorus, are still very haunting. And that juxtaposition makes it even more haunting. Just like a general comment first, immediately after we watched it for the first time, I said to Peyton, this song feels less like a typical K-pop title track that you would think of, and more like a separate arrangement of a song that has been made for like a competition performance special show. The whole intro section, like intros are not uncommon in K-pop songs. A voiceover spoken intro is uncommon, especially because it's like, once again, that haunting sort of like whispers, and the background under that is very like chaotic. It's like what you would see in the beginning of like a horror fantasy film. So it's really interesting to hear that in like the actual song, not just only for the music video, but it's like part of the actual song. And in terms of sound effects, how it adds to the haunting feeling, there's a lot of reverb. Less so on their voices, more so on like sound effects that you'll hear in the background. So a lot of the different sort of synth effects that you'll hear will be sort of like a shung sort of sound, and then it'll fade out, but the fade out is really dragged out and it's lingering for a long time, which is exactly the sort of sound effect you would hear in a horror movie, because it's like the feeling that something is lingering there and lurking in the shadows. Speaking of synths, oh wow, so many distorted synths. Like this entire song is just like, I don't want to describe it as chaos because it comes across negatively when I say the word chaos, but it is sort of that, like the overwhelming feeling, because that's like the concept that they're going for. Like it's a lot of different percussive hits, synths. I said by the end in the reaction, like they have these deep synth horns. Although on that note, for the end, I do agree with Peyton. The roar feels kind of out of place. I don't know, maybe it'll tie into their next release, not really sure. All of that is completely contrasted with the pre-choruses. The first half of the pre-chorus is very delicate, like, I don't know the person singing, but they're singing very sweetly. But then as the pre-chorus progresses, you're adding more percussion and like building up, and the percussion that you hear is sort of like marching anthem-esque percussion. That contrast makes it more dramatic. Even the way that they're singing is reflecting that too, because like I said, in the pre-chorus singing very sweetly and the consonants are a lot softer, but then in all other sections of the song, really, besides certain parts of the bridge, their diction is so aggressive and it's like really attacking the words. Very fitting, very on brand for this concept. I'm just like very intrigued. So, next!
Okay, so now we'll be watching their most recent song, which was their first comeback, and it's from just a few days ago. It is called Let Me Know. Let's go.
They do have one of the nicest like logo intros that I've seen. Oh!
Well, that's interesting.
That's cool. It's a lot of dog!
Dog!
This is a lot softer.
These are really interesting shapes in the choreography.
Oh.
I'm into it.
I am like surprised but also not that they went to like the hard sound for the chorus. Yeah.
This is so interesting because like where they're dancing is kind of like techy futuristic, but they also have scenes that are like very fairy tale.
Yeah.
Or like glamorous like that. Yeah.
I'm just very intrigued by the use of the acoustic guitar in a song like this. But like with like their style.
Butterflies. Did you see the wings? They just showed like part of the first,
From the first music video.
Yeah.
They have a gun cocking sound. The Descent.
Blue Roses. Fantasy. Talisman.
All of those like alarm horn sounds. Yeah, and now it's just completely acoustic. Oh. Yeah, beats a vibe. The echo? Oh,
Chapter
what are
2.
these chapters? What? Huh?
Wings.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all connected. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
The music video was a lot of interesting contrasts. And we sort of mentioned it in the reaction that it had the more like modern scenes and the more like glamorous scenes that was contrasted with sort of like the more fairy tale scenes. Like I'm specifically thinking about the scene where one of the members, I don't know her name yet, sorry, is holding the golden apple at the tree. And I don't know if it's the same member because I don't know them apart yet. But there's the one member, her hair is very like princess-like in the Wings music video, and she's sitting at the base of the tree, and I was like, does this all fit together somehow? Because it's chapter 2, so I know the story fits together somehow. And also there are obviously more explicit references to the first one, like you could see the shot of the wings, and then at the end also, everything on fire was reminding me of when the tree set on fire in the Wings music video. And then obviously a couple of other like more important parts of the music video that still keep it in that more sort of like fairy tale, like fantasy realm, where the blue butterfly, which is one of those like known symbols, especially in the K-pop world, this is used a lot, representing like change and like movement. Also the blue rose is another one that's used a lot to represent sort of like attaining like the impossible because they're not naturally occurring. Like the music video having contrast, the dance also had contrasts. But I felt like it wasn't as stark of a difference as in Wings, where like the pre-chorus was very delicate and then it was like attacking in the chorus. This chorus is still a lot heavier, like their movements, and it is more aggressive, but there is already more weight to the rest of the dance, so it doesn't feel like two completely different sets of choreography. But the thing that does make it stand out as different in the chorus is that it goes back to that darker feeling that I described in the Wings choreography as well, where like their body placement is a little bit more like twisted. Like there's a lot of shoulders forward, looking kind of like up through the hair, kind of like gets back to that haunting feeling again. And then one specific part of the chorus that I really liked, I said like, oh, that was nice. And I didn't realize until I watched the live stage that it was in every chorus, was how quickly they get up from their knees on the floor, because it's just a really smooth transition. And this is like tiny detail that just really stuck out to me. They're basically down to the floor, roll to their knees, and then pop up to second position. To do it that seamlessly just shows a lot of practice, because if you hesitate before doing that, you'll fall. Something else that I thought was interesting right before the chorus, before you get that twisted feeling, is they go to claw hands. And then that made me think of like, is it tied to the roar that we said stuck out at the end of Wings? Is it all tied together? Again, what is the story? But the last thing I wanted to say about the choreography was there were really interesting shapes in this. Like the beginning is really striking, like very memorable. There's the part where Ella, I looked up her name, Ella is in the middle, and like they all go down around her and it looks like she's sort of caged into something. There's the line where they sink to their knee across the back. Like it's just really interesting shape. So it's not just like, oh, we're in a line, oh, we're in a V. They're really playing with the stage. So that's all I had to say. Anna's turn.
Hello, so time for my comments. Inevitably, I'm gonna compare their debut Wings to this, Let Me Know, just because these are the only 2 songs that we know by them, and clearly they are connected somehow. One thing that I noticed right away is that this song is very much more K-pop title track structure, format, and everything. And also they are continuing this mix of like the softer vibe contrasted with a hard, intense sound. Although the contrast in this one is not nearly as extreme as Wings was. I will say the pre-chorus is like kind of a mix of both. One thing that I need to talk about is I kept getting thrown off by the acoustic guitar, and I kind of mentioned it in the reaction. I was like, what is this acoustic guitar? It's just like very different from like the intensity, sort of dark, twisted, haunting concept that they were showing. Like you don't really think of acoustic guitars when you think of something like that. And like during versus pre-chorus, when you hear it more, they're still using like synths on top of it at the same time. The percussion, there's like a more trap beat sort of snare that they're using. With that, the guitar feels a little bit out of place. But an instrument layer that is more in line with the guitar feel is there's this sort of like whistle flute sort of line combined with the guitar. It gives a more sort of like folk song vibe. It's not that the song itself sounds like a folk song, but it gives like hints of that throughout. And if you think about like the more fantastical shots of the music video, like the golden apple scene, it makes sense because you think about like the folk tales told like around the fire in those sorts of settings, which is displayed in the music video with their concept and storyline they're going to have. So I just thought that was a really interesting like representation, I guess. The sort of folk song style is like, oh, we're telling the tale of like fairies, pixies. But then the chorus intensity is like, nope, there's a dark twist to this story that you did not expect. For that like darker, more grounded style, they still do use a lot of like really intense synths, all of those percussion hits. They use that like horn-based synth a lot because it's like very grounded, but it's also sort of, it's very punchy and aggressive. Once again, it just like makes sense for the concept that they're going for. Also, they chose a very good hook. It's very catchy. It's stuck in Peyton's head, it is stuck in my head. But yeah, that's all I had to say for this. So, TLDR for this video is we reacted to rookie girl group PIXY for the first time today, and we didn't really know what to expect going in, although we had been given, I don't know what the word is.
A heads up?
A heads up that we might be a little bit taken aback, and the heads up was correct. It's very intriguing, like clearly there's something going on. We'll have to see in the future what the storyline is, so stay tuned and we will see in the future whenever they release a new song.
Alright, with that being said, if you enjoyed this reaction video, if you also love PIXY, or if like us, this was your first time seeing anything by them and now you're very intrigued to see what comes next, then please leave a like, comment, subscribe,
Ding!
turn on your notification bell, and bye!
Bye!